Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Indosim Esports Network once again here on a Sunday night. And tonight we are Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries racing from none other than Texas Motor Speedway. Looking forward to another great night's racing as the first 5 rounds has seen some sensational racing from these drivers. So we now move to round 6 at, as I said, Texas Motor Speedway. Tonight we are travelling 134 laps. The guys tonight will have 75% fuel capacity, one extra set of tyres over the fence when they do want to pit, 0 fast repairs, and there will be 1 green-white checker. Of course, as always, bringing you all the action here on the Indosim Esports Network is myself and none other than Paul Jackson. And without further ado, Paul, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well for a Sunday, but got work tomorrow, so I can't share too much.
Mate, yeah, it's a usual response on a Sunday night from you, actually. So we'll have to record that one, so you don't have to worry about it. But the old Monday-itis, it hits us all, mate. But we've now just really quickly moved into qualifying. The guys did well in practice there with some stunning times at the top. The times are close, Paul. We currently have, I believe, Jackson Callow might have topped the timesheets there in practice, and there was a tenth of a second covered by just a tenth of a second covering the top 10, rather. So really quick times there in practice.
Yeah, I've realised I've joined as a racer tonight, so I don't have the qualifying there, but I should be able to bring up the times for us anyway.
Yep, we'll still run through the times, and they're just starting to bank their laps now as we're a minute and a half through qualifying. So Kay Donnelly's been the first one to set a lap at 30.15. Craig Roffey is currently P2 at a 30.17. Troy Davidson 1.9. Shannon Wright just that tenth and a half off on a 34, but their second lap will most probably be the best here, Paul. So we'll give them a couple of minutes to set some times. We'll see who will take pole for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here from Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and while we're doing that, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our sponsors, Aiden. So we better give them a plug at the start here of our broadcast.
100% correct there, Paul. And without the amazing sponsors of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you to all the sponsors. We'll run through them. So the major naming rights sponsor is Ray White Rural in Gayndah. So jump on, like them on all their socials, on their websites, etc., and follow them and support people that support us iRacers. So also Witcher Electrics. Justin Witcher is actually the leader of this series going into round 6, based in Melbourne, Victoria. So jump on if you're down in that region and support Justin and his business. Also, AP Esports supplying the trophies, so thank you to those guys. But, Paul, it's amazing to be back here on a Sunday night for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Such a tight field, such a tight championship, and if the first 5 rounds are anything to go by, this is going to be a cracker.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Justin Witcher leading the championship, and a tight championship in points at the moment. So why don't we have a look while we're waiting for the guys to finish their qualifying? Why don't we have a look at the current championship points?
Yep, great idea. Let's do that. So we'll move on to that now as the guys wrap up their qualifying. So these are unofficial championship standings as we see coming out of round 5. Penalties have been applied, etc., to these standings. So these are the points running into this round. So Justin Witcher, as we mentioned, on top there with 171 points. Christopher Finlay, who succumbed the lead to Justin last round at round 5, there dropped back to second on 161 points. Darren McKenzie, as solid as always, there with 153 points, rounding out the top 3. Gary Wellman, 143 points in P4. Troy Davidson is rounding out our top 5 there, moving into round 6 on 140 points. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a tight championship at the top. We do reach the halfway mark tonight of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. So all the more important for these guys to have a solid finish tonight. But as we flick through there, find your favourite driver, find who you support, and see their points. And feel free, we are live on Facebook. We can see we have some viewers at the moment. So feel free to comment and interact with us through the broadcast. We love the comments. We love you all getting a part of it. So please do that. But Paul, it looks like we've nearly wrapped up qualifying at the moment. It looks like Jackson Callow has come out on top, as he did in practice there, and taken the pole position with a 30.12, closely followed by Raymond Yeager there with a 30.14, with an identical time of Gary Wellman with a 30.14 in third, mate. So looks like we've got some solid close qualifying at the front there.
Sounds like it's quite close tonight, and Justin Witcher, I think, has just jumped up to P10 there. So it's going to be some good close racing, I think. And being Texas, let's see how these guys do a bit of line dancing.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see actually the difference of Texas in these supercars. It's been a while since I've done laps in a supercar around here, so interesting how the car will evolve over long runs. We've seen a lot of long runs in the first 5 rounds, so we're not expecting anything different from the quality of drivers out there tonight, Paul. But yeah, that tyre, and see what that does, and what the difference is of being in a pack, because generally in these cars, being in a pack, it does help you. So we'll see how that goes, but we see the guys gridding up on the grid at the moment. So we will run through your starting order, and looks like they're okay. We've got that up there. Sorry, it's a bit blurry on my end. So it looks like out of nowhere we've got Barry Neal, Paul's teammate, off the pole position. Jackson Callow pipped right at the post there outside your second row. Raymond Yeager and Gary Wellman rounding out your second row. Sorry, Jackson Callow outside of the first row. Cade Donnelly and Craig Roffey on your third row, followed by Sam Katakuznos and Adam Malone out of 7 and 8. 9, 10 is Troy Davis and Greg Spencer, and 11 and 12 is Justin Witcher and Andy Barberpool.
And on the 7th row, we've got Aaron Dillon and Shannon Wright, Philip Howe and Dwayne Priest on the 8th row, Ruben Phelps and Ben Stewart on the 9th row, and Christopher Finley and Peter Matson rounding out your top 20. Max Riley, Steve Hoppett, Jaden Russell, Gerard Daly in 24th.
Out of the 25th position will be Brett Campbell, closely followed by Darren McKenzie out of 26, Scott McClintock 27, Terry Marwood 28, Michael Shaw out of the 29th position, and that rounds out your field. Looks like Jamie Nankervis will be starting out of P30. Obviously, my name is not meant to be there. So that rounds out your 30-car grid here for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, round 6 from Texas Motor Speedway. 134 laps. Strap yourself in, guys. This is going to get wild. Okay, so Paul, we're sitting there, we're waiting for the drivers to make their way out on the grid. Looks like the safety car has just started moving its way away from the field, so we're going to see the guys start and roll out of the pit shortly. I thought I saw the safety car roll away. I must have been seeing things, but the guys will definitely be rolling out shortly. So there's Barry Neal, the 22 car on screen, leading the field out behind the safety car for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Paul, let's do it now. We usually do it halfway through. Let's do it now. Who's your pick?
Well, can I be biased and just say Barry Neal, my teammate, since he's put it on pole?
You can go for whoever you want, mate. So Barry Neal's your pick.
Yeah, I'll have to stand by my teammate tonight, I think, and we'll go with Barry Neal.
Awesome, no worries. Well, now it's my turn to... I've had a bad luck at this lately, actually, so I'm sorry to any driver I pick, but I think tonight, with the reign of form he's been in, I think Justin Witcher's going to get another one tonight.
Yeah, Justin's had pretty solid results all through the 6 rounds, or coming into the 6 rounds, so it's a pretty solid pick there, but pace car lights are off, we're coming around, and Barry Neal is bringing us to green.
Yep, Barry Neal following the pace car there. Ladies and gentlemen, as always in this series, it will go on green. Restarts off the leader. Barry Neal, round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, brings us to the green flag here at Texas Motor Speedway. Waiting for the green light, and we are green for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here on the Indosim Esports Network. Barry Neal with a good jump on the outside there. Jackson Callow with an equal or better jump around the outside. So 2 wide into turn 1 for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Looks like there, Raymond Yeager getting a good run on the inside following Barry Neal. Looks, oh, we had 2 cars glance the wall on the outside. That's not going to be good for their front tyre at the end of this stint, but it's action-packed down the field, Paul. Look at that, with 3-4 wide all the way down to the 20th or 30th.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's holding back as Raymond Yeager's making the move for P1 now.
Yeah, Raymond's looking very racy early. He's sitting on that high line now trying to make that work. Jackson Callow couldn't make that work on the first lap, and we see that sort of hasn't worked again there, but he's going to stick in the draft there, Barry Neal, and try and make that outside work. I think the longer this stint goes on, if we go green, Paul, we might see that outside line start working its way or working its magic as more rubber's laid down up there, but at the moment it does look like that faster line, sort of that mid-line, and as Raymond makes me look stupid now, just taking Barry Neal on the outside.
It looks like a bit of a mix of a line around turn 1 there. Barry's got some pretty good pace in turn 1 there as he takes the lead back, but in 3 and 4 there, that high line seems to possibly be a bit faster.
Yeah, it does. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It does. You saw that just there as Raymond didn't lose as much through the mid-corner between 3 and 4 as he does through 1 and 2. You'll see Raymond range right up on the back or even onto the outside quarter panel there, rear quarter panel of Barry Neal on the entry, but you can see he just pushes up mid-corner there at that high line and can't carry that mid-corner speed, and then he'll drag a little bit of it back, as you said, here on Barry through 3 and 4, but this is going to be good for Raymond on the long run of these tyres, I believe. It's going to help him, but Barry is a wise fox when it comes to these cars on ovals, so he knows what he's doing too, Paul.
Definitely, and we might just move back a little bit in the field here, so we'll take another look at what's happening a bit further back. So we've got Jaden Russell here up 7 spots currently.
Yeah, most definitely. Who else we got? Troy Davidson up 6 spots. We have a mover. Ruben Phelps is actually up and down at the moment, but he's up 4 spots on his starting position. Some of the losers we've got, Justin Witcher's actually down 6 spots on his starting position as well, Paul. So hopefully I haven't put the mocker on him, as I said in the pre-show. So he's currently down 6 spots. Michael Shaw out of after starting out of the 29th positions, up 5 spots into 24 as well. And Paul, you'll be the safe to agree, I'd say, that Michael Shaw's had a pretty decent run in this series so far. He's been competitive at most tracks he's gone to. He's just ran out of that luck when he really needed it.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a hard luck story for Shaw. He's had a few close calls at podiums there. He's been knocking on the door, and just come that last lap, been caught out in a few little incidents, and sort of cost him a little bit, but yeah, he always manages to find his way up there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he's had the mentality, as he said on the broadcast, that he just wants to keep his car nice and clean and see where he ends up at the end. And hey, that's been a great strategy so far, because he's been there for the last couple of laps, but as I previously alluded to, it just hasn't worked out for him. But that's motorsport. Hopefully he has another run tonight. But at the front, Paul, it is on like Donkey Kong. Barry Neal still leading the way there at the front. Craig Roffey's moved up into second, demoting Raymond Yeager back to third. It looks like Jackson Callows and Sam Katakouzenos, is having a good run there. Sam's up 4 positions from his starting position at the moment, having a run on the inside, trying to get up the inside of Raymond Yeager. Jackson Callow right in behind him, Troy Davidson, Greg Spencer there as well, Cade Donnelly, Ruben Phelps, as mentioned, he's now up 8 positions up into the 9th position after starting out of P17. So good start there by Ruben Phelps.
Have a look at that outside line though. Sorry to cut you off. Have a look at that outside line though. Raymond's really making that work out of the corners, and Troy Davidson also just back a couple of spots on Raymond, but that high side seems to be getting that good run, I think.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's going to get better for that high line as this stint goes on as well. 1 and 2, you can see still there, Paul, as you mentioned earlier, that it's struggling a little bit still through the mid-corner of 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, it looks a lot more stable. If they can get 3 or 4 guys, as they're trying to do there, help each other on that high line, it might work, but at the moment it's sort of just stabilising at the front and they're just jockeying for position.
Yeah, I think they'll probably start to settle in a little bit into it now. We're 11 laps in. With only 1 tyre change, I probably don't want to be pushing too hard and burning out those tyres too early.
Yeah, and by looking at 134 laps, thinking of these cars around here, to get all the way to the end, you're looking at around about the 65, 63 lap mark out of a tank of fuel. I don't believe they're going to get that out of a tank of fuel. So I believe they're going to have to do a short stint on the same tyres at some stage in this race. So if that is the case and I've got my maths correct, what's exciting to see if we do go green, or as we I put the commentator's curse on Greg Spencer, as I was about to say, as we go green, and we'd just gone under yellow, but I believe here at round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Unfortunately, there's Greg on the inside. No fast repair, had to tow back to the pits. That's night done for Greg Spencer, unfortunately, Paul.
Yeah, let's go and look at what brought that out.
Looks like that's just both drivers there, maybe just not understanding where they were on the track in proximity to each other. I don't think there was anything untoward there, just an unfortunate racing incident.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some bent steering on that car as well, that impact on that wall. He doesn't look like he can even turn it here as he just coasts along, and he's about to hit the tyre barrier just there as well. So
yeah, that Pinnacle Sim Sports or Sim Racing, or I forgot what they call themselves, Pinnacle Sim Sports or Pinnacle E-Race. I forgot, Paul. That's completely gone from my mind, but unfortunate for Greg there, mate. But still another 2 of his teammates in the race at the moment. I don't believe we have... No, we don't. We don't have Nigel Payton in the field tonight. So there's 2 of those cars left in the race at the moment. But no doubt Greg will get his repairs there, Paul, and he'll be out and just try and get some points. But they're all coming through pit lane at the moment. Some are staying out. Michael Shaw looks like he's stayed out. So that's going to move Michael Shaw right up to the pointy end of the field. Also looks like Philip Howe, Terry Marwood and Steve Hoppett has had the same idea. Jackson Callow looks like he's the first out of pit lane as well. So he's going to be the effective leader of this race if it goes green for a long period of time. But those guys at the front opting not to stay out. The only reason these guys come into the pits, I believe, would be to top up on that fuel. So interesting strategy for the top 4 guys that decide to stay out under caution there, Paul.
yeah, probably just looking at grabbing that extra bonus point there for leading a lap, I'd say. Choosing not to come into pit and hoping there's another caution shortly, I think, is probably what their strategy is.
Yeah, I believe you hit nail on the head right there, mate. But a little bit of luck will go their way if that is the case. But we're only 11, 12 laps in at the moment, or just gone 13, I believe. So a long way to go in this one, as we see. Not sure who that is travelling down pit lane at the moment.
That would be Philip Howe, so not sure why he left it another lap, because I don't think he would have led a lap at that stage, so I don't think he would have got a bonus point, so that's probably given Terry the lead there.
Looks like it has. Terry Marwood has taken the lead up 27 positions off his starting position. So admittedly, he didn't pit. So there's some easy spots there. Michael Shaw's exactly the same. So it looks like the guys that started off the rear of the field is actually going to bring this field to green when we go green in a lap or so's time, Paul. So 15 laps ago, these guys were starting off the rear of the field. Now we're going green and they're starting off the front.
Yeah, and there's... what do we got? There's about 11 hungry Holdens sitting behind Terry Marwood. It's the only Ford in the top 12 at that point, so he's got some big Ford shoes to fill there.
Yeah, definitely. It is the Holden show so far. But how good does that Mustang look at Terry's? I like that paint job, nice and clean, white and black. So looking really fast there. Got the Ninja on the side. Don't know whether that's referring to the motorcycle brand of Kawasaki or whether that's just something special for the livery. But great looking car there by Terry Marwood. Michael Shaw also a couple of months ago got a new paint job, so you can see his orange, black and white Activity Hub Barley Racing or Activity Hub Barley car there in second place. Steve Hoppett has a bit of a out there retro type theme, it looks like there tonight. It's one of the major sponsors of his league, I believe, is on the side of his car, if I'm not corrected there, Paul.
Yeah, sorry, I was just paying a little bit more attention to our championship leader. So Justin Witcher just coming into pit lane. So not too sure. Doesn't even look like he actually stopped there. I think he just drove straight through that. Um, Interesting.
That is interesting because you can't serve penalties under the caution. So unless he's just wanted to go to the back of the field. So anyway, that time will tell for Justin. He obviously knows what he's doing. He's made it hard for himself. He's 15 spots down on his 26 starting position, so anything can happen. But Paul, as I said earlier, it's going to be Terry Marwood bringing us to the green for the second time here at round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you here on the InterSim Esports Network. How's this going to play out, Paul? Terry Marwood, Michael Shaw haven't pitted for fuel. I don't think anyone's taken tyres around them. So do you think they can keep these cars up the pointy end and try and get into that green flag pit stop, mate?
I think they'll be banking on caution so they can get their laps, their pit stop done. But pace car comes off, and here goes Terry about to jump on that loud pedal.
Yeah, Terry Marwood bringing us to the green, and it's on the leader, and Terry jumps early, very early. He's got a massive jump there on Michael Shaw. So Terry Marwood leads us away for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it looks like we're under yellow straight away again.
Go give us an update on that card.
Yeah, that was a great start there for Terry. There must have been a little bit of drama further back, so we'll just jump back a little bit here and see what happens.
Oh, looks like a car has just been tagged from the rear. I'm not sure whether Pete Matson there in the Ray Wright Rural Gander car was involved in that one at all, but the Detroit car has...
Stewart there can run over the straight under. Looks like
a few got involved in that one, Paul.
Yeah, didn't quite catch the start of what actually happened on that. There's a few that are involved in that, so that's going to hurt a lot of drivers there.
Most definitely, and we'll see as that relative plays out to see who's actually going to go down pit lane, and that'll tell us all the drivers that were involved in that one. So that's definitely going to hurt. We currently have Greg Spencer still in the pits from his incident earlier. Looks like Jared Daly is in pits as well. No one else at the moment is in pits, so they're obviously still circulating around and haven't towed. But very big accident here, mate, at lap 18 of 134. That's definitely made the race hard for a few of those guys involved in that incident.
Definitely, with no fast repair, there'd be a fair bit of damage there. We'll see who comes in there. I didn't quite catch it. Maybe Scott McClintock? I'm not too sure. Gary Wellman, Troy Davidson, Ben Stewart.
Jamie Nankervis is in pit lane as well. Shannon Wright's followed in. A lot of people are in pit lane at the moment, so it looks like a good 5, 6, 7, 8 cars are involved in that one.
Yeah, and that could be night over for a few of those guys. So.
Well, we'll keep an eye out up in the medical tent, and we'll get old Sonia, who looks after the guys here at the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and gives them a tap on the head and a bit of useful words of advice for next time. We'll see if someone jumps up into there, and if they do, we'll bring them down for a chat.
Yeah, but one thing I'm not too sure about is what's happened to my teammate. He wasn't back out on the track for that restart either, so not sure if he's had some technical difficulties or if he's had to leave the race early, or what happened there.
Yeah, no idea. I can see him there in the chat at the moment, but he is muted and his headphones are muted as well. So yeah, it looks like he may have something come up at the moment. So unfortunate for Barry after leading the first 15, 16 laps of this one. So unfortunate there for your teammate, Paul. Hopefully he jumps back on and scores a couple of points in this one for you. But currently Terry Marwood there, as you see on screen, still leading us he'll be leading us back to our second restart of the night. Michael Shaw still in second there. We'll follow him to the green on the outside of the first row. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to our stream here on the InterSim Esports Network. As always, we appreciate all your support. we can see is watching there live on Facebook. You can also follow us there on Twitch or on YouTube. So jump across IN2 SIM Esports Network. Also share us with your friends. Anyone looking for broadcasting or anything to do with the broadcasting side of your iRacing esports, feel free to drop us a little bit of a shout out or pass on, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you. But right now, it's not about us, Paul. It is about the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. We're 20 laps in at Texas Motor Speedway. All the drivers except for the first two at the moment have done a little bit of a splash and dash on fuel. They're the only ones on a little bit of an alternate strategy at the moment. So as we go green, if we have a long green run here, it's going to be fascinating to see how they try and cover off the guys' strategy, because from third through to the back of the pack at the moment are better placed on fuel. I know it's only 20 laps into 134, ladies and gentlemen, but sometimes the decisions you make now on your strategy definitely do play into your hands when we come down to lap 120, 130, and we're playing for the win, Paul.
Yeah, and speaking of the win, do I get a second pick now?
Mate, you're the owner. You can do what you want. So, yeah, we'll allow you a second pick for tonight, mate.
Alrighty, well, I think I'll have to go with Raymond Yeager now. He's showing a fair bit of pace in that early start to this race.
Okay, so Raymond Yeager is yours. So it looks like my pick's actually had a bit of an incident too, because he's now out of the race by the looks of it. No, it's come back up. It was just showing out on my timing, ladies and gentlemen, so I do apologise for anyone watching and following Justin as he races tonight. So he is back in the server and looks like he is still on that lead lap. So down the back straight we go. Terry Marwood leading us to green. Michael Shaw covering off that outside of the first row in second spot there. Raymond Yeager and Jackson Callow will bring us to the green from the second row, followed by Steve Hoppett and Sam Katakuzanos on the third row. Kate Donnelly, Ruben Phelps out of 7, 8, and rounding out your 10 on this restart will be our Aaron Dillon and Andy Barber. So through turn 4, Terry Marwood goes, brings this field of cars to the green. Pit lane is closed. Pace car in pit lane, and we are green again for the second time for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, as Raymond Yeager got a belter of a jump there out of the third row and is trying to make his way around Michael Shaw. Looks like Michael Shaw is going to keep an eye through 1 and 2 here, and Michael Shaw has cleared off that position. So we've had a clean start here for the second time of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, 21 laps into 134 of round 6 at Texas Motor Speedway. Leading the way there, Terry Marwood, Jackson Callow following him in second. Michael Shaw getting a good run there in P3. And we've seen this from Michael Shaw over the last couple of rounds. He's not afraid to get up the front and mix it with these guys when he's up there, mate. And it's paid off dividends, except for that last little stint of the race. So he's put himself in a good position at the moment, as he's just caught a little bit of the apron as he went through 1 and 2 there, which unsettled the car. So but he's definitely up there doing well. Raymond, your pick there, moving up on the high line there into P3. Terry Marwood's just building that little bit of a gap there at the moment over Jackson as these guys fight for the minor positions. So Terry Marwood would be looking in his mirror at the moment, and he'd be laughing, going, come on guys, keep doing that, keep doing that. So especially with him being on a different fuel strategy. So he's going to want to get as big a gap as he can, so when he comes in and pits, it minimises the pain that it will cause. Obviously, yellows will play a part in that, ladies and gentlemen, but we are not the iRacing gods. We cannot foresee what is going to happen. But Paul, mate, we are, I believe, 25, 26 laps. I just can't see that at the moment, but 25, 26 laps into the 6th round of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Been a little bit stop and start to start with, but it looks like the guys have settled down for now.
Yeah, and that little bit of a breakaway lead that Terry had is slowly being gobbled up by Raymond. If he can sit there in the toe, he might be able to pull that back, although Terry's still got his foot down and is on a mission at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely is. It looks like they tried to get a run there, but he hasn't quite been able to, because it looked like that Jackson Callow really wanted that second position, and look at him now pulling up on the back of Terry Marwood. So no little did we say that Terry would be liking that and getting in front rather. This group of 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and further down are going to slowly range up on the back of Terry here over the next couple of laps, I'd suggest.
Looks like the top 11 there is just getting a little bit of a breakaway with Dwayne Priest and Andy Barber just trying to hold on to the back of that pack there.
Yeah, they'll be desperate to hold on to the back of the pack. You don't want to lose the draft, although the way those times were in practice, it looks like it is very draft-like around Texas. I know these cars are very... Oh, as we have a car. That was a great save if he's kept that off the wall. Looks like he hasn't, as we've gone caution for the 3rd time at lap 27 at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it looked like Philip Howe there was doing a bit of drifting on the inside of the track there, but brought out the caution. Let's see if we can go back to that one.
There's going to be a lot of cars in a lot of trouble early in this one, Paul, I believe, but we'll go back as you just referenced and have a look at that replay and see how that all unfolded. So looks like Steve Hoppett's high up on the outside there. We've got 3 cars. Yeah, bottom lane, just underestimating how much room he had on the outside. I'm not sure whether he noticed he was 3 wide at all. So that was just a case of the inside lane coming up into the middle lane, and it looks like that outside lane has been the unlucky victim of all of that, Paul.
Yeah, I think someone else might have been involved in that. I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to flick through who that was. There we are. So 18, Jamie Nankervis. So that was what? Oh, sorry, 015. That's Brett Campbell there, actually.
Brett Campbell and Steve Hoppett involved.
I think that's what actually brought the caution out. Philip Howe, with his big drift to keep it off the wall, actually managed to save that, but I think there was an incident a little bit further ahead of them that brought that one out there.
Another big accident, Paul. 3rd caution of the night here at Texas Motor Speedway for round 6, the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. We talked it up earlier in the broadcast at how clean the racing's been so far in this series, but tonight we've had some unfortunate incidents, and we're only just about to go over 30 laps in, and we're on caution number 3.
Yeah, it looks like Barry Neal's back out on the track there as well, I think. So whatever was going on there, he's back out to turn a few more laps. So good to see him back out on the track there. But why don't we see if we can try and grab Brett, if he's available, and see what actually happened there with him.
No worries, we'll do, Paul. And well, you've said that. I've been all over it. And Brett Campbell, mate, Aidan and Paul from the broadcast booth, unfortunate incident there, mate. What's the take on it from your point of view?
Yeah, mate, I mean, doing my best to stay out of trouble, and yeah, somebody comes up and gets me. I'm have 8 minutes of repair time now, so my race is pretty much done.
Yeah, unfortunate there, mate. You were doing a good job. You're up a couple of spots, just trying to keep your nose clean. It looked like you're going 3 wide there, and you were the unlucky victim in the middle lane there, I believe. So, unfortunate, mate.
Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean, that's racing.
Well, hopefully you get the car fixed up and you get back out there and circulate and try and get a couple of points. We already have 3 cautions, only 30 laps into 134, mate, so God knows what the race brings, and you might be able to salvage a couple of points going into round 7.
Yeah, that's right. And I think I've just made a stuff up and left my tyres on.
No, it's all right, mate. That's all right, mate. You'll be in there for a while by the looks of it, so you should be okay. But, mate, we'll let you get back into it and watch that timer count down, and look forward to seeing you out on track shortly.
No worries. Thanks, boys.
No worries. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Campbell involved in that unfortunate incident previously, and you can tell, Paul, he's not too happy about it, but he is trying to put on a polite voice for us.
Yeah, and especially if he hasn't turned his tyres off. 100 laps now on one set of tyres. That's not going to be good for Brett.
It isn't. He does have 8 minutes of repairs, and whether they're required, and then he's got optionals. But So that's going to wind down a couple of laps. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a long last stint if he does get that car back out on track. So he's going to want to play it very safe because he doesn't want to blow that front right. But Gary Wellman now moves himself to the lead of the motor race, mate, with Philip Howe up into P2, Pete Matson there into P3, and Jackson Callow P4. We did see Pete Matson involved in an earlier incident as well, so he's done well to get his car back up into the third position.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, Philip Howe still sitting there in P2 as well, minus a bonnet, but he's looking to maybe try and lead that lap that he maybe didn't get earlier. I'm starting to lose track of who's leading laps here. There's going to be a few bonus points handed out, I think, for leading laps tonight.
Yeah, there's been a few, mate. There's definitely been a few, and as we can see at the front there, the only person inside that top 10 at the moment that's been down the pit lane once is Philip Howe. So Philip Howe will bring us to green. That's how he's got himself there at the moment. He's only done one, been down. Yeah, Philip Howe, sorry, has done one visit down pit lane. All the rest in the top 10 has done two, apart from no, I believe Terry Marwood's done one. He's starting out of P10, so we will see how we go here. So Gary Wellman and Philip Howe will bring us to green off the front row. Gary Wellman does have the field in his hands at the moment as he follows the pace car through four. Pete Matson, Jackson Callow will come out of the second row for the third restart, with Aaron Dillon and Cade Donnelly on the third row. Philip Howe and Gary Wellman brings us to the green. Philip's trying to go early. It is in the hands of Gary. Now Gary's walked them and he's gone. And we are green for the third time here at the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Paul, we have seen tonight that the drivers off the pole really want to get that jump early.
Yeah, the second line there, the P2's really been keen to try and get a good jump with P1 when they go, but they haven't been able to hold on to that. But Jackson Callow sitting in behind there in P4, I think it was, wasn't having any of that as he saw what was happening and went to go around and went straight around Philip Howe when he could.
Yep, and Philip with that no bonnet, he's really paying for that at the moment, moving backwards at a great rate of knots. But Gary Wellman's got a great jump in this one. Aaron Dillon, his teammate there in P2, Cade Donnelly P3, and Jackson Callow fighting for that P3. How often have we seen this, Paul, the Sim Boys cars in the supercars on an oval in the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries being at the pointy end, all running together?
Yeah, we've mentioned it before how well these guys do in these V8 supercars around ovals, and they're definitely showing it again tonight.
They are, as we see the Pinnacle Esports car. No, it's not. It's one of the Sim Boys racing. Looks like that's Cade Donnelly, Jaden Russell. I didn't think Jaden Russell was in this race. Who am I getting that? Oh, yeah, Jaden Russell's there. He's up 20 spots. That's why I didn't know, ladies and gentlemen. He's unlikely and had to start outside of the top 20, Paul. So didn't take notice of that. So the Synergy Sim Racing JK Signs entry of Jaden Russell has moved himself up to P2. Jaden was really strong last week too, Paul. So he's showing again that it wasn't a one-off and he knows these cars.
Definitely, but now 35 laps in, there's still 100 to go, 99 to go, so still very early days yet as to what can happen.
It is, and fuel burn's going to be essential on what lap now they're going to pit. So it looks like the guys have settled into their rhythm, and I'll give them the commentator's curse. There's the Aussie Esports, my teammate there, Ruben Phelps, making his way forward up 11 positions, trying to make it 12 there on the inside, maybe even 13, really making that inside line work, pushing into the top four, but that outside line will have that run around the outside there with that slipstream, but Ruben Phelps making his intentions clear early, trying to move that 06 Aussie Esports Holden Commodore up to the front of the field. So Aaron Dillon still leading the way there over Jackson Callow, Jaden Russell sitting there in P3, Gary Wellman and Cade Donnelly rounding out the top five. But Paul, if we look at those last lap times, they're all within a tenth of a second of each other, if I put my teeth in rather, in the top 11 there. So this is going to switch and change over the next 10 to 20 laps as they get longer and longer into this fuel run.
Definitely, and yeah, as you can see there on the screen, just the lap times, how close everyone is on their laps as they go around. So there's not much in it between everyone at the moment, and it doesn't really matter if you're sitting there just saving a bit of fuel, saving a bit of tyre, and you're still running those lap times with everyone. Ruben Phelps there making a big move now up to P2.
Yeah, Ruben, like I said earlier, making his intentions clear there, wants to move that Aussie Esports to Holden Commodore up to the front, pushing Aaron Dillon all the way at the moment. So he's really making that inside line work. Ruben might have a different tyre strategy here, but I don't believe he would. He wouldn't have taken tyres this early. So he's just sat back earlier in the race and saved his equipment, and looks like that's paying off at the moment. He can hold that bottom line a lot better than the other guys, but they'll keep working there on the outside, and he's not going to have this his own way. Those Sim Boys guys will definitely be up there at some stage, but Ruben Phelps there just clears Aaron Dillon and takes the lead of this race. So Ruben Phelps now your leader over Jaden Russell. Aaron Dillon drops back to P3. Jackson Callow is P5. Gary Wellman's just moved up to the inside of him, P4. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, they are running too wide. So as they go across the line, my live timing does go crazy. So, but pick your favourite colour, look at them, favourite driver rather, look at them through their liveries. If I get the drivers wrong, I do apologise. But Ruben Phelps doing a great job there at the front, Paul. We're 40 laps into 134 laps, around 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here from Texas, and looks like we're getting a bit of green flag running.
Yeah, good to see after a few early cautions, getting a bit of a green run now. So this will bring into play a bit of strategy on that fuel and tyre combo now.
Yeah, it most definitely will. Currently still have 24 cars on the lead lap, so anybody's there are. Looks like Jamie Nankervis, as much as he was involved in the incident, it doesn't look like his lap times at the moment are really hindered. He's sitting back there in P13 battling with Pete Matson, but he's been through the lane 3 times, and the last time he came down pit lane was on lap 28. So yeah, it looks like he is good. But in saying that too, Ruben Phelps, Jaden Russell and Aaron Dillon, Jackson Callow, your first 4 at the moment, were down pit lane on lap 28 also, and they've been through the pit lane twice, so they're pretty much on the same strategy as we see Jamie Nankervis as well. So looking good for the top 4 at the moment, 43 laps in. Looks like the top 3 are just getting that break. Looks like somebody's stopped on the inside of the track there, which has brought out a caution. If that wasn't an incident, hopefully that wasn't someone stopping there. That'd be unfortunate, but we'll go back and have a look at that one, Paul, and see what's happened.
Might just have to hit the rewind on that to see what happened there, if there was a reason for that or not. Which doesn't look like it. I think he's just decided to park his car. So
yeah, and the stewards won't look very fondly upon that either, Paul. They don't
there was
like
an
that.
engine blow just there, sorry. Just heard an engine blow.
You saw the puff of smoke, so we did jump the gun there. So unfortunately, there was no way he was going to make it around to pit lane. So very unfortunate there. It looks like that damage was just too much and the car's just given up on him.
Yeah, so that's Ben Stewart. That'll be his night done now. It's generally about half an hour of repairs for an engine swap, so I don't think we'll see him back out on track with 90 odd laps to go now.
Yeah, it looks like that will be night done, and what looked like such a promising start for him has turned out quite the opposite, so he won't be happy with that one. They're coming down pit lane again. I don't believe they'll be taking, or they could be taking tyres. I don't believe they would be at the moment, be another fuel top up, but Darren McKenzie has jumped up now into the lead of this motor race after starting out a P26. Terry Marwood's back up there again, so here's that alternate pit strategy playing out at the moment, mate, as we see different drivers moving their way to the front. Jamie Nankervis has moved back up into P4 there as well. So, It is going in ebbs and flows. One we haven't spoken a lot about tonight is Sam Katakouzanos. We did speak about him earlier in the broadcast in the opening laps, but he's sort of just fallen down into the clutches of the outside of the top 10 to just inside the top 10. So I'll be excited to see how Sam's race progresses into the mid to back end of this one, Paul.
Yeah, he was looking promising in the start of the race. He was up there having a bit of a battle and contention for the podium spots there early at the start. But yeah, now as you said, he's just dropped back in, sitting in 11th currently. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out for him. But Darren McKenzie, our race leader, has done his couple of laps at the front there to get a bonus point as he pulls in, and Terry Marwood is once again our race leader now.
Yeah, very smart there by Darren McKenzie. He's just gone and got that extra point and come in the pits. It is going to bury him down in the field, but he's got that point and now he can put that one aside and go, okay, I've got my bonus point, and now he can race to the end without having to worry about that. A lot of drivers do. I don't tend to worry about that, and that's probably half my problem in my racing. I don't. But I know a lot of these guys are a lot smarter than me, Paul, so obviously they're doing that because every point counts. But as you said, Terry Marwood back at the front of this motor race, Peter Matson P2, Jamie Nankervis up to P3, Philip Howe P4. Jamie Nankervis very lucky, Paul. He was in a pretty decent incident earlier, and it looks like he's got off pretty scot-free at the moment with the condition of his car. Because that's not him, that's him in third, in the mobile car, I believe it is. So he's looking quite good, a lot better than Philip Howe that's sitting there in P4 behind him, who we saw go backwards real quick at the last restart because of missing that bonnet. But great racing here, mate. Round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Big shout out to our sponsors once again. Naming right sponsor Ray White, Rural Gander, Witcher Electrics and AP Esports for supporting the Australasian Supercar eSeries. We thank you so much. Also from the Indesim Esports Network, thank you to the Australasian Supercar eSeries for having us on board. We are round 6 of the series currently, and we are at the halfway mark at the end of this 134-lap race from Texas Motor Speedway tonight. So at the halfway mark, Paul, everyone's going to see where they are in comparison to the field. 6 rounds to go. It's definitely anyone's at the top, but it's about to heat up over the next couple of Sunday nights.
Yeah, and this time around the pace car lights have gone out, so the guys going to be forming up. But just want to get a little bit of a touch on Philip Howe and his car there. We've had quite a few cautions now that he's opted to stay out and not go and get any of that damage fixed.
Yeah, very interesting call there by Philip. I don't have the answer to that, Paul. I would have thought that he would have tried to get as much damage as he can. Well, we've now under our 3rd or 4th caution of the race before even going halfway through. I would have thought maybe you would keep coming in and get as much as you can done, because as this race goes on, we may have less caution. So short answer to my very long answer I just gave you, Paul, is I have no idea.
That makes 2 of us sitting here in the booth. So hopefully Philip knows what he's doing there, and he gets a good jump this time as he missed the restart. So hopefully he can follow Peter Madsen, and that outside line gets a good start here as Terry Marwood's about to bring us to the green. Yeah,
and this is a familiar sight here for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Terry Marwood in the car 10 bringing us to green. The field is under his control, and Terry Marwood drops a hammer, and we are green once again here for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Terry Marwood leading the way at the moment. Jamie Nankervis, it looks like they're making the move on Peter Matson. It looks like Trading Paints is having a little bit of a heart attack unless Jamie's changed his livery to what we're looking at, because I'm sure he wasn't in a monster car. But anyway, he is at the moment on my screen. So Jamie Nankervis moving up into the 2nd position currently, right behind his teammate or previous teammate. Not sure what's going on there from a team point of view, but they were together, so they will work together as we see. So Terry Marwood, Jamie Nankervis, P1, P2, Pete Matson putting that Ray White Rural Gander Holden Commodore up the inside of Jamie Nankervis, trying to make that run. Can't quite make that one stick out of 2 as they go down the back stretch. It looks like we're going to have another train of 5 at the front, 6, 7 and 8. We're going to want to push up in the back of this as well. But Paul, we're going to have to slow it down a bit. Looks like the guys have gone green. How about you choose a driver? We go on with them for a couple of laps so we can go and get our breath back and enjoy what it's like in a V8 supercar around Texas Motor Speedway.
No worries, and I think we might have to jump on board here with Jaden Russell, because he's showing quite a lot of pace tonight, and after the great start that Terry, Jamie and Peter had, Jaden's already jumped back up to P3, so we'll jump on board with Jaden and we'll go for a couple of laps.
No worries, and ladies and gentlemen, as you just heard from Paul, we are going on board with Jaden Russell, Synergy Sim Racing, JK Signs ZB Commodore here at the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. Sit back, relax, turn up your volume and listen to Jaden at work behind this V8 supercar at Texas Motor Speedway for a couple of laps.
As we were jumping on board with Jaden, we actually saw Ruben put a big move up the inside there to once again take over the lead of this race.
Yeah, and you just got me there, Paul. I was about to jump in and you went, so thanks for covering me there, Paul. But what great coverage it was there of Jaden Russell right behind Ruben Phelps. You saw it all unfold right in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. But Jaden Russell being put to the sword there by Terry Marwood on the inside line. So Terry has got a second wind in this little short stint and trying to make his way to the front in that Ford Mustang. So Terry Marwood again showing his mettle tonight, moving that car up into P2. He gets a little bit loose there off 4, as we're going to see these cars do that more and more, Paul, as the stint goes on in these tyres. But we've got a breakaway now of the top 7 cars at the moment. So we do have 2 distinct groups here now for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, but that can change as quick as the gap has opened up. But Ruben Phelps still leading the way. Jaden Russell in P2, Terry Marwood fighting for P2 on the inside right line there with Jaden at the moment in P3, Jamie Nankervis P4 in that Monster Energy card, Aaron Dillon keeping him honest there in P5, Pete Matson just sitting in behind there at P6 as he tries to make a move up there now into P5 up the inside of Aaron Dillon. And Sam Katakuzanos, the one that we just said we hadn't spoken about, well, here he comes sitting there in P7 on the back of this leading group, Paul.
Yeah, silently sitting there, silent assassin. So sitting on the back of this group and using the toe a bit. And while we were on board with Jaden, you would have heard he was using that toe and lifting a little bit and a bit of throttle control there. So yeah, so that'll be what a few of these guys will be doing, just sitting at the back here of the group.
Oh, Aaron Dillon in the back of Jamie Nankervis. Jamie has tried to correct it and it's just and the whole second group has been caught up in that one. Oh, Jamie not holding the brakes and rolling down the track there. They're all doing it. That was a big one, Paul.
Yeah, that definitely was a big one. Just caught the glimpse of Jamie getting sideways there, and I think he actually got run into as well and flipped, and a few other guys unable to avoid that. So
yeah, very, very big one. 5th caution of the night, Paul, and we're not even halfway through. A lot of guys in a lot of trouble at the moment. So the likes of Ruben Phelps, Jaden Russell, Pete Matson, Terry Marwood. And as we see there was a little shot in the back of Jamie's car and he just launches.
He's over the fence. Look at that.
He's nearly into the crowd. 3.5 somersault with a pike is my favourite call. There he goes. Let's see what his execution on landing is. We know he lands the right way up, and we've got cars launching as they go past Jamie. So there we go, 10 out of 10 for the landing. Not so much the no brakes, but oh, who was that? That was very close on the inside. But yeah, Jamie's car doesn't really resemble a V8 supercar much longer, Paul.
Not anymore, but we'll just go back a little bit. Another little moment there, Andy Barber as well getting loose. So not sure if he was trying to preempt the first caution and got loose, but he's ended up taking out Philip Howe there. Darren McKenzie putting the rear of his Mustang into the fence as well.
Yeah, it looks like Andy Barber was involved in that one in the Coca-Cola car as well. I believe that could be Philip Howe's night after 2 big incidents, so he'll be lucky to get out of that one. Pete Matson's car looking a little bit worse for wear there up on the right-hand side, Paul. Craig Roffey's car's definitely seen better days. It looks like the Heinz spaghetti that I make in the morning and then chuck the tin into the recycle bin. It looks very similar to what that looks like, mate. It's not looking too healthy at all. Jaden Russell there in P4. So currently out of those guys we just mentioned, it looks like Terry's got a quite clean car there at the front. Let's go back and have a look at some other positions here. It looks like that Michael Shaw's been involved in an incident as well. He's in pit lane at the moment after having a strong start. Scotty McClintock pulls up 11 positions on his 27th starting position, one that we haven't spoken about at all tonight. So he's doing well. He was in an incident earlier. I think we mistook him for Jamie, unfortunately. So he was involved in an incident earlier, so his car's looking a little bit second-hand as well. So Justin Witcher back up into ninth too, Paul, having a nice solid job after dropping back earlier. So his car's looking very, very clean there as well. The current leader of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries moved himself back up into the top 10 in P9. Shannon Wright there behind him in P10 too. So, mate, we're 60 laps into 134, about another 5 or 6 laps, and we'll reach the halfway mark of the race, mate. Are you surprised how many cautions we've had early in this one?
Yeah, I definitely think there's been one too many cautions, if not two too many. It is looking like it's pretty wild out there on the racetrack with these guys going 2 and 3 wide, maybe just losing the rear, or not backing off a little bit and getting into the back of cars and giving them a bit of a nudge and push and bringing out a caution and wiping out a few extra cars along the way with it.
Yeah, I think they might be struggling a little bit with the massive speed differences when you do get a little bit of a tow, whether it be through a corner, because a lot of them have been either 2 or 3 lines and not sort of judging where you were, or just getting into the back of someone just slightly, or taking the air off the rear of their car. So I think a little bit of patience might be the medicine for the guys tonight at the moment, as we're 60 laps into 134. But at the same time, for us broadcasters and commentators, Paul, we don't want to really see a little bit of patience, because we want to bring a little bit of spice to you here on the InSim Esports Network on a Sunday night.
Yeah, and there's definitely been a bit of spice tonight, so I think things are definitely going to heat up in the restart again, and I dare say we'll be looking at Jaden Russell, Ruben Phelps, Sam Kay, and even Kay Donnelly, Justin Witcher, probably getting into the mix of things up the front now.
Yeah, usual suspects up the front, so that looks like there's going to be 2 of the Sim Boys cars up there starting inside the top 10 on this restart. You're going to probably have Terry Marwood and Shannon Wright want to get together at some point and try and work together. But yeah, Terry Marwood doing a great job there. Pete Matson, he is the owner of Ray White Rural Gander, who is the major sponsor of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. So he'll be chuffed to be bringing the cars to green. Sorry, I just got my tongue tied again, ladies and gentlemen. So you'll be excited to bring the cars to green here for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCARs eSeries, albeit a restart, and it is the 5th one of the night, I believe, Paul. So through 3 and 4 we go. Terry Marwood on the outside of him. Top 10 is rounded out by Shannon Wright. So we'll just watch Pete Matson as he follows the pace car here onto the main straight. The field is in Peter's hands. He can go whenever he wants. As we've seen, people have gone early. Is Pete going to do the same? He's slowed up the field. He's backed up the field, and we are gone, and we are green for the 6th time here at the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Pete Matson leads us down the main straight into 1 and 2. Looks like Craig Roffey has got a good start there and made the position on Terry Marwood, so he'll be following Pete Matson very closely here through 1 and 2. Jaden Russell following Craig Roffey there into P3. Ruben Phelps from Aussie Esports making his presence known once again. Paul's trying to push that Aussie Esports ZB Commodore up to the front as quick as he can. Hopefully there is a bit of patience, but we're nearly 3 wide here at Texas Motor Speedway as we are about to go halfway through this 34 lap race.
And Terry Marwood getting real loose in turn 3, I believe that was. But Sammy K, as I said, making his moves up towards the front there, up into P4, and Ruben Phelps trying to go around the outside here on Peter Matson.
Yeah, and the guys are wanting to take it 4 wide there through 3, or into 3 and through 4. They did a really good job to save that one to put it back to 2 line. These Sim Boys guys look like they want to move to the front too, and it looks like everyone does by the looks of it. So Ruben Phelps just positioning himself there in P4. Sammy K, Sam Katakouzanos, he is making his presence felt too now, moving himself up to the front on the outside of Terry Marwood. Terry just covers him off there on the outside of 2, which gives Ruben a really good run as he dives it hard in. Down line 3 and 4, Ruben's going to tag. And Ruben saved it. How has he saved that one, Paul? What a drive by both those drivers to not create a big shunt there for the rest of the field.
Yeah, that was a big dive from a long way back, and I don't think Terry Marwood actually realised that was coming, and yeah, as you said, great job by both of them to keep that going.
Yeah, don't know what damage this has done to both the cars. It looks like Ruben's getting left behind a little bit on the inside line there. He might have hurt his outside front, but I think Terry might have got away with that one very, very unscathed, which is lucky for Terry. But Jaden Russell moved his way up to the front. Sammy K has taken that position into P2 and ranging right up the back of Jaden Russell there, trying to challenge for the lead of this motor race. But Terry Marwood still there in P3, Ruben Phelps P4, Gary Wellman P5. Craig Roffey has unfortunately dropped down to P6 after restarting that one near the front, but he's still around about where he started the race. Our current championship leader, Paul Justin Witcher, has moved himself up into top 8. You can see into the top 8, rather. You can see him there in the white and blue Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodore, trying to make his way up the inside now of Cade Donnelly, I believe. So Justin Witcher starting to march his way forward, but that gap between the front and the second pack now has catched up, and it looks like we've got a train of about 15 cars there at the moment there, Paul.
And here comes Ruben again for a big dive up the inside here of Sammy K and Jaden Russ. I think he'll get that one done on Sammy K as he tries to slot in between them, and he'll be looking to make the move on Jaden Russ in the next corner.
Yep, he's diving into 1 and 2 on Jaden Russell. He's got a bit of help there with Gary Wellman on the inside line, so he's just got the overlap at the moment as he can go in to get the run on the outside. Looks like Jaden's just holding it up high there, so we're going to go 2 wide, 6 deep down the back straight on lap 68 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries, round 6, Texas Motor Speedway. Ruben Phelps trying to make that move on Jaden Russell. Looks like he has got that one done as he comes out of 4. So Ruben Phelps will lead us across the line to lap 69 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries here from Texas. So, Paul, it's not going to stay that way for long, as it looks like that outside line is being very persistent and wanting to keep it too wide at the moment. So I also see 2 Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodores making their way to the front too at the moment. So it's definitely heating up here.
Yeah, and we're only coming into 70 laps, so we've reached the halfway point just, so we're just over by a few laps, and it is full on at the moment. Everyone wants a piece of the action at the front here.
It is full on, and that's what we love about it, because we commentate and we go, someone's leading this lap, and then within 3 seconds we need to readjust ourselves because it's totally changed. That's what we love about this series. Oh, we nearly had an incident there with one of the Pinnacle Esports car. It looked like a Sim Boys car wanted to poke his nose down the inside, but they're looking racy at the front here, Paul. They definitely don't want to be back around that 8th, 10th mark at the moment. It doesn't look like anyone's comfortable just settling at the moment. They're their racing. This track has brought some really, really good racing. As much as we have had some cautions early, it's brought some really exciting racing to the table here for round 6. So Texas Motor Speedway, the V8 Supercar with this setup is definitely doing it justice tonight here at round 6, mate. So Ruben Phelps from Dunedin in New Zealand leading the way over Jaden Russell and Gary Wellman as we're about to go into lap 72. So we'll just sit back, Paul, for a couple of laps and watch these guys play out here on the InSim Esports Network. We'll try and save our voice for a couple of minutes. We'll be back with you shortly unless there is an incident, and we will keep calling this as we will go green flag pit stop racing at some stage over the next 20 or 30 laps. And we are back here on the InSim Esports Network on a Sunday night. Thank you for that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little bit of a breather for a couple of minutes as we're 74 laps into 134 of round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries Texas Motor Speedway. Jaden Russell, Ruben Phelps currently leading the way at the front. We are two-lane racing. Sam Katakuzanos still there on the outside of the second row, holding down that third position, fighting very hard with Gary Wellman there on the inside. Looks like Jackson Callow wants to be a part of this as well on the outside of the 046 car. Raymond Yeager and Justin Witcher are going to want to work really closely together here in those Pinnacle Esports cars. It looked like there was another one there as well, but it's just a very similar looking car. And Barry Neal, we're three wide into 1 and 2, and that was so close to Jaden Russell getting to the back of Sammy Kay there. So good driving by both those drivers, and we're going 3 wide down the back straight at Texas Motor Speedway. Jaden Russell trying to slice right up the middle there. Sammy Kay's going to come down. Is Jaden giving him enough room? Great driving by all drivers at the moment. That middle lane's just not quite working. Will it work on exit here for Jaden Russell? Sammy Kay staying nice high up around there as well. Is he going to get any help, or is he going to tuck down and try and create just that 2-lane? Looks like he's doing that at the moment. So Jaden Russell, very bold move there up the inside or up the middle of that lane down the back straight on the previous lap, Paul. They did a great job to get through that one.
Definitely, and things are definitely heating up here as we're running 3 wide through the corners now. So it is an intense battle here at the front of the pack.
Yeah, and that just goes to show the amount of concentration too, Paul. We're ovals, and we've got a car big time into the wall through the tri-oval at Texas Motor Speedway, and that's Terry Marwood, the commentator's curse. His car looks so clean, and that's going to be tough for Terry. Hopefully no one collects him on his way through, but that car does not resemble the nice-looking car we saw at the beginning of the coverage, Paul. We'll go back and have a look what happened to Terry. He was just on the high line there. It looks like at the moment he's sort of just staying there. It looks like he was just the innocent victim. Gary Wellman spinning on the inside. Doesn't look like he's been involved with... okay. It looks like he's just tried to avoid the car. He got a big run and got loose and put himself up into the wall. So that's, I believe, a result of a checkup, Paul, from the Wellman incident. So great job by the green car there on the inside to miss him. So another caution, mate. Caution number 6 of the night, I believe it is. We have gone past halfway. I believe if the guys pit and take their tyres now, they will be able to make it to the end. So strategy through this caution period is going to be fantastic to watch.
Yeah, and we'll get the cameras here down pit lane, and we'll see who's going to be making their moves into their stalls. in just a moment as they come round.
It looks like majority of the fields come through. Barry Neal stayed out. He'll be trying to get those laps back. He's currently 2 laps down. He'll go 1 lap down, so he's banking on more cautions and Lucky Dog. So great move there by Barry Neal, but looks like most of the current contenders, Paul, are down pit lane at the moment. So they'll be taking their one and only set of tyres, I would suggest, right now, and they will be filling those supercars up to go, hopefully, green to the end.
And looking at that, the only one that was on the lead lap, I believe, that didn't stop is Christopher Finlay. So currently sitting P2 in the championship there. He's getting his bonus point leading the lap. And look how tight that was coming out of pits. Jaden Russell's car inside of Sammy K's there, coming out of pit lane.
Yeah, very close out of pit lane, but you did reference on Christopher Finlay there, and I'm looking at the live timing, and he's actually been down pit lane 1 extra time than the likes of Jackson Callow, Ruben Phelps, Jaden Russell, Sam Katakouzanos, Cade Donnelly, who we saw just come down pit lane, who still takes up the 2nd to 8th position on the grid, I believe, at the moment, or for the restart. So that's live timing. Will catch up, though, as we go through across the start-finish line this time around, because we can see currently that Michael Shaw is 2nd behind the pace car, but I do believe Michael Shaw is a lap down. So we'll just wait for the live timing to catch up, but I believe Christopher Finlay will be the effective leader of this race when we go green again, with Jackson Callow following him on the outside of that front row. Ruben Phelps, Jaden Russell, Sam Katakouzanos, Cade Donnelly, Justin Witcher and Adam Malone should cover off your first 4 rows when we go green here again for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the Intersim Esports Network. Paul, a lot of cautions, is going a lot longer than we thought. A lot of guys doing it very hard tonight, getting caught up in those incidents. A lot of these incidents have been very similar to Super Speedway incidents, which Texas does have the big one in it, but not as many as we've seen tonight. So mixture of car and track and track condition could be playing a part in that one. But for this series so far, what we've seen through the first 5 rounds, 6 cautions is very unusual.
Yeah, definitely. And if I recall, running these V8 supercars here at Texas last year, I think both Barry and I had podium finishes, and I think we only had maybe 1 or 2 cautions, so we've had quite a few tonight, but it's been a lot more intense racing, I think, than what anyone's expected, so it's been pretty good to watch.
It has, and it's been all the way through the field, Paul, and what a great turnout now you mention it for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. It has brought on great numbers for the entirety of the first half of this season, as we will wrap up the first half of Series 1 of the Australasian Supercars when we bring the Texas Motor Speedway round to a close to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So great entries, and we did have 30 entries tonight that did start the race. So really great support for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, as we've said before, and we will take the opportunity to say again, they do have some great sponsors on board. They are the naming rights sponsor of the Australasian Supercar Series is Ray White Rural Gander. Again, get on and follow them if you need any property or anything up through the Gander region. If you don't know where that is up on the Sunshine Coast of Queensland, I believe. Get on and Google that. Google is your friend, and you'll find everything you need to know about Ray White Rural Gander. And the owner of that business is currently in the race. So that is the number 173 of Pete Matson. So keep an eye out for him. Also, Justin Witcher, who is the leader of the Australasian Supercar eSeries coming into round 6 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Witcher Electrics out of Melbourne. So jump on and like him, AP Esports, of course, for the trophy. But Paul, the pace car lights are out, and we are about to go green for the 7th time of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, as we are about just over 80 odd laps into our 134. Let's hope we can go green to the end.
Fingers crossed, and this time round, Christopher Finlay, our race leader currently, with Jackson Callow on the inside, Ruben Phelps behind, Jaden Russell and Sammy K, our top 5, and pace car is off and we're about to go green.
Christopher Finlay brings us to the green. Jackson Callow on the outside, as you said, Paul. Jackson Callow has predicted that jump brilliantly, and he has got the jump on Christopher Finlay. and he will take the lead of this race for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Texas Motor Speedway is our venue, and Jackson Callow is leading the way as he gets really loose there through 1 and 2. That's not going to help him. Christopher Finlay will get the run up on the back as it looked like there. Jaden Russell come really close to getting into the fence out of 2 there rather, but he's, as we've seen in Jaden Russell fashion tonight, Paul is wanting to move that JK Signs ZB Commodore up to the front of this motor race.
Yeah, he's definitely shown pace tonight and shown he's wanting to be at the front of this pack. Along with Ruben Phelps and Sammy Kay, they've all been hungry to run at the front of this pack, so that's where they want to be, that's where they want to stay.
Yeah, most definitely. They want to be up there and stay out of trouble. So 84 laps into 134.50 to go on the dot. They're definitely going to want to stay out of trouble in this one. It looks like a majority of... looked like there Sammy Kay got very loose out of 4. It looks like a lot of the action has been sort of from that 8th, 9th, 10th to 20th spot at the moment. So these guys are thinking, I want out of that and I want to be at the front, and we'll see what happens. So doing a nice job there up the front, Jaden Russell, with Jackson Callow sitting right in his coattails there in P2. Ruben Phelps, the Dunedin man for Aussie Esports, back up into the podium position as we currently stand. P3, Sam Katakouzanos keeping him honest in P4, and Cade Donnelly and Christopher Finlay in P5 and 6. So, Paul, 86 laps now, 134. It's settled down a little bit, but every time I say that, the caution comes out. So I think that has to be the last time I say that tonight.
Well, usually it's me putting the commentator's curse on, but I think tonight you've done it more than I have, so I'm sitting pretty here tonight. But Sammy Kay on the inside here making a run for P1 now.
Yeah, P4 to P1 at a blink of an eye, but I think it's because I talk too much, Paul. That could be my problem, but I think that's the job we're employed to do, is it not? So that's probably why I give these guys a bit of bad luck. So I try and talk about as many of them as I can. But yeah, Sammy Kay currently taking up the lead of this race. Jaden Russell still sitting there in P2. He's going to want to fight back on the inside of Sam Kay here. Ruben Phelps is trying to get the run on J. Russ, but he's wisely just backed that one off in the third. So they're definitely wanting to lead from the front. They're not happy to sit there behind at the moment. So don't know what the story is. They might get a little bit too much aero push while they are in the draft. So they think it'll be better long term for their tyres to be out in front, or it's just that fun racing that they just want to race. So great job here by all the guys, and they're putting on a great show here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries Round 6 from Texas Motor Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are tuning in to the broadcast here on the InterSim Esports Network via Facebook, and we can see that there are people watching us at the moment, so please, if you're watching, drop a comment below. We love to get interactive. Talk to us while we are on the broadcast. Also, you can jump across onto Twitch or YouTube and find the broadcast if you wish. Share it to your family, friends, anyone you wish to be a part of the InterSim Esports Network, whether it be the Australasian Supercar eSeries, which we are broadcasting to you live here tonight, or whether it is the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series that we bring to you on a Friday night. You can see all your V8 Supercar and NASCAR action right here on the InterSim Esports Network. But Paul, currently Jaden Russell and Sam Katakouzanos still side by side at the front of this motor race.
Yeah, definitely they're going back and forth here, just swapping positions, and Sammy Kay coming for the inside again once again. So these two just having a great little battle at the front by themselves at the moment, with the other guys just sitting there in the background keeping up with them.
Yeah, they are. It looks like Ruben's doing what I mentioned earlier. He's stopped fighting and is just sitting there trying to possibly save his fuel. We don't know where these guys are fuel-wise. We haven't brought any of them up into the booth yet. We've had too many cautions and trying to get this one underway. So We might be able to do that as the race goes on, but as we get closer to 134 at 94 of 134, they're definitely going to want to concentrate more. So we'll see what happens as the race pans out. Hopefully we can bring some inside knowledge to you, the viewers, from inside one of the cockpits of these race cars. But at the moment, we will leave that one alone. Jaden Russell has now got back into the sole lead of this race, with Sam Katakouzenos and Ruben Phelps still in the second and third positions. Jackson Callow sitting there with a little bit of a stalking breach there on Ruben Phelps. Looks like Jackson's wanting to make his way through past Ruben as they nearly get into each other there through the tri-oval. So Jackson Callow has now moved himself up into P3. Ruben trying to hold tight there on the outside line. He's getting a good run down the back straight. So this outside line is starting to wear in a little bit, Paul, by the looks of it. He definitely got the run enough there to chop across the front of Jackson Callow to try and cover off another move. So that outside run is starting to move, but Sammy K is now taking the lead in the motor race as well. It's changing as quick as I can talk.
Yeah, back and forth, P1, P2. It's definitely a good battle to watch here as the guys trade positions back and forth. But just wondering how this is going to impede these front guys trading spots and running that hard to the guys just sitting there in the back. Kay Donnelly and Christopher Finlay just sitting there in the background and buying their time and maybe looking after those tyres a little bit better and not pushing quite as hard, and we may see them come through towards the end of this race.
Yeah, they will. I believe they will, and I believe hit nail on the head there, Paul, with their strategy. But if you look a little bit further behind them, in 8th position, Gary Wellman in the green car, he's going to want to get up on there as well. He's a teammate of those two you just mentioned. So there'll be 3 Sim Boys cars fighting for the lead of this race. So, as it looks like there that Ruben Phelps and Jackson Callow have just got into each other. Coming out of 4, Jackson Callow with a great save there to keep his car on the straight and narrow. A little bit of damage down the right-hand side of that car. Not sure how that's going to affect him as we see Cade Donnelly trying to get that run. It looks like it's okay currently, but great save there, Paul. That could have been a big one between Ruben and Jackson.
Yeah, definitely, and these guys are doing great jobs here in these close battles to really push the limits on just how far they can push these cars and how close they can run, and they're just showing the skill and calibre of their driving ability.
Yeah, they are. They've shown that all night. There have been some unfortunate incidents that we have covered so far, but for the most part at the front here, it's been sensational driving. They've been swapping positions lap after lap, 2 wide, 3 wide, sometimes 4 wide, and very minimal contact at the front. And if there has been, there's been some great driving skills shown to be able to recover that car and keep the race moving forward. So great job by this top group of 9 cars at the moment. Jaden Russell is just edging out a little bit on the 2nd and 3rd place, but you can see as soon as he does that, they get the run behind him. So this one is definitely not going to be a runaway by any stretch of the imagination, as we are now circulating lap 98 of 134. Looks like Jackson Callow can't be damaged too much as he's trying to move his car there on the outside line around Ruben Phelps. They nearly get into each other again, but it looks like Jackson Callow has made that move into P3.
And one thing we probably need to have a look at here, Aiden, while we've been caught up in the mix of this front pack here. So our championship leader, Justin Witcher, currently sitting in the 10th spot in our top 10 with his teammate Raymond Yeager behind him, pushing him, trying to get him up there, because Christopher Finlay currently sitting in 6th. So if Christopher does manage to make a bit of a jump in towards those podium spots towards the end of the race, and if Justin's not able to get up there, then we could see another change and short-lived championship standings for Justin, possibly.
Yeah, 100%, Paul, 100%. The way these points do work, ladies and gentlemen, if we just touch on that, on what Paul reiterated to, if that is a word. I love making up words here on the Anderson Esports Network. Why not? That's what it's about. But Justin Witcher is the current championship leader. He is 10 points in front of Christopher Finlay. They're currently sitting 6th and 10th on the track, respectively. So currently that would be a 4-point difference. So the way the points work is, I believe it is, I'm not sure how many for first, but whatever it is for first, it's 5 points different between 5 and second, then 1 point thereafter for every position all the way down the field. So it really helps to get that win, to get the extra 5 points. Obviously, if you do lead a lap of the motor race, there's an extra 1 point as well. So I'm not sure currently whether Christopher Finlay has led a lap of this race. I know that Justin Witcher has. So that's another point that Justin has on Christopher Finlay at the moment, but there is a long way to go on this one for Christopher to lead that lap. And I think the best thing Chris can hope for is in these last 6 or 7 rounds to get those 10 laps back is just consistency. Everyone's going to have a bad round, so it's just a matter of making sure when you do have that bad round, you minimise the impact of it. So yeah, Paul, definitely going to be interesting, but Justin Witch has now just made the move into P9 as Jackson Callow again does a great job controlling that race car, but it's going to move him back in the field now into the clutches of 6th, 7th, and as you see, Justin Witcher there in 8th.
Yeah, it was a great job by Raymond to push Justin up to this lead pack here, and Justin's coming as fast as we can say P1 and 2 are swapping positions, so Justin's really on the move now, looking to get back up there, but I can confirm that Christopher Finlay did lead a lap earlier, so he brought us to green under one of those cautions, so he has been the race leader and got his bonus point as well.
Okay, that's excellent. So that's great for Christopher Finlay. So there's that bonus point that he would have wanted. So currently it's still that 10 points difference, but Justin's now moving up on the back of Christopher Finlay and looks like he's going to make the pass. So yeah, Justin's gone now. It's hammer time now, and he's just moved that car up into P4, I believe, chasing Sam Katakuzanos as, was that Raymond Yeager? No, it wasn't. Okay, Donnelly, one of the Sim Boys cars, so great job by him saving it as well. But those Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodores are moving their way to the front. Looks like Justin Witcher has got the bit between his teeth at the moment, chasing down Sam Katakuzanos. These 4 cars, Russell, Phelps, Katakuzanos and Witcher at the moment, making a little bit of a gap there to 5th place Adam Malone and 6th place Raymond Yeager working well together. So Justin Witcher showing great speed at the moment, just showing the nose of that ZB Commodore up the inside of Sam Katakuzanos. He's going to try and take the inside through the tri-oval here. No room there. Sit in beside Sam, in behind Sam Katakuzanos. But last lap, we can see that gap opening for the front 4 guys. So 30.6, 30.5, 30.5 and 30.5 respectively for these front 4, as opposed to a 30.8, 30.7, 30.9, and 30.9 for that second group. So another 2.5 tenths put on the second group by these leading 4 at the moment, Paul. So they're doing a great job. We'll just monitor that gap over the next couple of laps, actually, and see whether this quite large group, the second group, can work together and try and close this gap down. But we're already at lap 108 of 134. These last 26 laps, if my maths do me correctly, going to go by very quickly with the quality of this motor racing so far.
Yeah, and with 26 to go, let's jump on board with Justin for a couple of laps while he's got this pace as he's making his way to P1.
No worries. So we'll go on board with Justin Witcher, the pilot of the Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodore and your current series leader of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. how good are those pictures, ladies and gentlemen, of Justin Butcher in the Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodore, trying to make that move on the outside of Jaden Russell there, and Ruben Phelps also putting the Aussie Esports ZB Commodore up into the second position. There's one stage there, Paul, well, we're on board with Justin Butcher, but it looks like he's now gone. The outside's not working. I'm going to try the low, and it looks like he's now made the move to be the new leader of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries Round 6 here from Texas. Justin Witcher, your current championship leader. We'll just go back and have a look. Christopher Finlay, his closest rival at the moment in the championship, has moved back to P10. So he's gone backwards, unfortunately, for Christopher Finlay. So if it currently finished where it stands at the moment, Jaden Russell and Justin Witcher, it'd be another 9 or 10 points that, he gets an extra 5. So it'd be an extra probably 12 or 13 points that he will pull on Jaden Russell if it finishes as they stand. But I'm quite sure, Paul, that that is not how these cars are going to finish, as these top 4 cars are still, or now it's a top 5 car battle, rather, with Raymond Yeager. Well, we're on board there, making up the gap on the back of this front group. So those Pinnacle Esports cars are definitely showing a bit of pace here, Paul. And Raymond's looking very racy, wanting to get on the inside of Ruben there to try and help Justin. But Ruben's going to be very wise to what they're doing, so he's not going to make it easy for Raymond, as Raymond's really trying to pull that car down low. He just can't quite get that run. Ruben's going to push Justin to the lead of this motor race by the looks of it. But Jaden Russell doing a great job, just holding steady on that outside line, giving a lot more momentum off the turns, which isn't allowing that group of 3 to get that run on the exit of the corner. Sammy Kay just having a watching brief there in 5th, Paul. That second group of 3 cars, that looks like they've pulled away and created a second group. They're slowly catching up on this first group. They pulled a 10.5 of a second out of them last lap. So Cade Donnelly, Adam Malone and Andy Barber may not be out of this one yet with 19 to go.
Yeah, definitely. They do seem to be catching up here on the back of this pack here. And even got Gary Wellman coming on the back of the pack of 3 here. So it could be a very interesting run to the finish here. If these guys jump on the back of this pack as well, we could have a 9-car race to the finish.
Yeah, it looks like that's the way that this one is turning out, my friend. Those cars are definitely bunching up at the front. They're taking a 10th of a second a lap out of these front guys as they start to battle. So it's currently 5. It will be 9 very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Paul, none of our guys, well, Justin Witcher was my pick at the start of the race. Unfortunately, Barry Neal, who's now, I believe, 4 laps down, he's got caught in another incident somewhere maybe, but he was your early pick and he hasn't quite had a good race. Who was your second pick again, Paul? I forgot that.
Well, I had to take 2, so it was Raymond Yeager, who's now sitting in 3rd in front of your pick. So
there we go. We're 3rd and 4th, so if history repeats itself, these guys probably won't finish. But no, we can't say that. That's putting the jinx on them. So when you watch this back, Raymond and Justin, I do sincerely apologise. We hope you do well. But yeah, those Pinnacle Esports boys doing a great job up in P3 and P4. But there's that second chain there, Paul. They're nearly on the back of this front one. So that 9-car battle for the lead is going to eventuate quicker than I thought it would.
Yeah, definitely. But it looks like they're all settled in a little bit at this stage. But the big question is, does everyone here have enough fuel to get home?
Very great question. I just saw that Christopher Finlay went in the pits on lap 115. So he obviously saw it early that he didn't believe he could make it to the end. So that's going to be an interesting equation to watch play out, Paul, because if these guys do run out of fuel or have to pit again, I believe Christopher Finlay's in a really, really good spot but I believe he wouldn't have been able to take tyres, so it's really only fuel. So these guys are going to be working together, but yeah, great point. Be interesting to see over the next couple of laps whether it's one of these guys ducks in or they're going to try fuel save to get home.
And currently have 16 cars out of our starting 30 on their lead lap. So few guys getting caught up in incidents and having to cut their night short, but still got half the pack on the lead lap.
Yeah, we do. Still good effort by all the drivers out here for the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries. So, Paul, 16 cars out of 30 on that lead lap after 6 to 7 cautions earlier on in the evening. So, a lot of cars sustaining quite substantial damage, and they've taken their repairs and still circulating in this motor race for the most part of the top 20. But 16 of those cars on the lead lap, still with the incidents we had early. Great to see those amount of cars still fighting for the win. In saying that, Christopher Finlay in 16th, as I previously mentioned, is down the field, a lap down, as he did not believe he'd get to the end on fuel from our calculations. So we're still waiting to see, as we're lap 123 of 134, I believe that is. My screen's just gone a bit blurry, so please apologise on my behalf. Sorry, guys. But 123 of 134, so we're nearly coming to under 10 to go. It's about to spice up. We've gone to this 8-9 car battle at the front. We do have Andy J. Barber just sitting there with a watching brief in the background, waiting for anything to happen. He's just sitting off the back of Sam Katakouzanos at the moment. Those Pinnacle Esports cars are doing well. It looks like Raymond Yeager has decided to take it to the front. No team orders there by the looks of it, with nearly about 10 to go, Paul, with Justin Witcher moving back there into P6, whether he's just backing off and cooling everything down to have another run for the front at the end. But Raymond Yeager looking very racy on the outside of Ruben Phelps there as they go down the back straight. Jaden Russell still leading this race though. Raymond has left Justin a little bit in the lurch there, so obviously there are no team orders, but we are now 10 laps to go. 3 wide through the tri-oval at Texas Motor Speedway. That is game. But they get through there. Ruben Phelps on the inside is getting the run up. Jaden Russell up the inside of Jaden Russell. It looks like on the outside that's not quite going to work there for Raymond, although he gets a good run off the outside line. But Ruben Phelps just mid-tracking that car. Doesn't want Jaden to get the run. It looks like that low line still has that speed through the mid-corner, but this outside line, if they can get a bit of help, is going to drive around the outside. But Paul, I'll settle in for a little bit and let you chat for a lap or two. My screen's got a bit blurry with laps to go, etc. So I do apologise, and I'll get ready to call this race to the end.
Well, there's no need to cry because Ruben's sitting in P1 currently, but 126 of 134 as we're going 3 wide once again, and this time Adam Malone down the inside, come from that second pack out of nowhere, just dropping under that white slightly, getting a little bit unsettled, but he is back in the mix there, along with Cade Donnelly coming from that second pack as well. So both Adam and Cade looking to try and push through this intense battle that's going on here in the remainder of these 7 laps.
Yeah, it definitely is an intense battle. Ruben's making that ZB Commodore of Aussie Racing very, very wide down those straights, trying not to allow anyone to get that run. It looks like at the moment Raymond Yeager's really persistent on that outside line. It's going to be tough through the tri-oval to get around. Looks like Adam Malone, or is that Jaden Russell? Jaden Russell, sorry, it was just a bad colour on my end, was giving Ruben a big push there. Got Ruben a little bit unsettled in the rear, but another lap down, 128. We are now circulating of 134. The question still is, Paul, do they have enough fuel? We haven't been able to go on board and see whether that is the case, the way these guys are racing at the front at the moment, as Raymond gets really loose out of 3 and 4. It looks like they're going to be good to the end. Jaden Russell giving Raymond a very big push. They need to be really careful because that can end in tears. Ruben Phelps just sticking to that inside line. Raymond persistent on the outside line. Raymond's got a great run this time round. Ruben cuts the nose off. Raymond trots straight down and goes, no thank you, Ruben. And I'm coming up the inside. Can Ruben keep it on the outside there? Jaden Russell has just gone, okay guys, you can play this out for the next couple of laps. I'm going to wait. But as I say that, he goes, no, I want to be a part of this. So he is now pushing on the back of Ruben Phelps, trying to get around the outside there, Raymond Yeager. We are 2 wide, 2 deep. We're about to go 3 wide, I would suggest, Paul, very, very shortly. We are down the back straight of lap 130, this time across the start-finish line rather, as they go through 3 and 4, this time across. We will have 4 laps to go for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you on the IndySim Esports Network. Raymond Yeager, once again, on that outside, making it work really well through the tri-oval. Jaden Russell there, trying to make that outside line work along with Raymond Yeager. It looks like Justin Witch has gone, okay, now's my time to go. So he's done exactly what I said. He's sat back there, let him stuff cool down and gone, now's it my time to go. Ruben Phelps, the sitting duck, the 2 Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodores following the Aussie Esports ZB Commodore at the front now. So Ruben's at a point now with only 3 laps to go as we run into lap traffic, doing a great job there, keeping out of the road. 3 laps to go. Ruben has to make this car as wide as possible because we're going to go 3 wide racing. He can't fall back now. There's not enough time. So look who's coming on the outside there, Paul, up into P3, Sam Katakuzanos. He's been sitting at the back of this pack, showing a watching brief and just waiting. So look at this, Sam Katakuzanos. And we've had a change for the lead. Justin Witchy, your current championship leader, now leads this motor race. We'll come out 3 and 4, this time across the strike. We have 2 laps to go of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Ruben Phelps trying to make an inside move through the tri-oval. Justin Witcher says, no, thank you, not there, Ruben. Sam Katakuzanos goes, I am going the outside, and Raymond goes, no, I'm going middle and I'm coming too. Ruben Phelps down the back straight. Raymond Yeager trying to get a run in behind his teammate, Justin Witcher. What a great race this is, Paul. Sorry for not letting you get a word in edgeways, but we are about to go to the white flag of round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and Justin Witcher will bring us to the white flag. We have a lap car on the outside. Ruben Phelps trying real hard out of the tri-oval into 1 and 2, dives the Aussie Esports ZB Commodore up the inside, tries to make that run on Justin Witcher. Watch the outside there, guys. Raymond Yeager having a great run on the outside. Sam Katakuzanos passing, pushing Ruben Phelps. We are 3 wide down the back straight. Ruben Phelps doing a great job holding that inside line. Sammy K, Raymond Yeager around the outside. Is he going to get the run on Ruben, or is Sam K going to? It looks like Ruben Phelps, Dunedin, New Zealand, will get the win for the Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the IndySim Esports Network from Texas Motor Speedway. Raymond Yeager finally getting that outside line to work and just nudging ahead of Sam Katakuzanos to take the P2 away from him. Sam Katakuzanos with a great drive there into P3. Justin Witcher with a nice solid drive into P4. He'll be happy with that for his championship, Paul. Adam Malone rounding out your top 5. Mate, sorry you couldn't get a word in edgeways, but that was a little bit exciting, I must say.
I don't think we could have called it any better anyway, Aiden. So it was well called at the end there. It was pretty intense. So better just let you roll with it and go with the flow there. But what an ending to that race.
Sensational ending. I did think Ruben was going to struggle there with the 2 Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodores really chasing him down, and then Sam Katakuzanos tried to get into the party as well as we went nearly 3 wide across the line. But what a race. It started off slowly, Paul, but as this series always does, it never fails to disappoint.
Definitely not, and we'll bring up the finishing positions there. So P1, our race winner, Ruben Phelps. P2, Raymond Yeager. And P3, Sam Katakuzanos. For our top 3 podium finish, Justin Witcher in P4 and Adam Malone P5. Cade Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Jackson Callow, Troy Davidson and Peter Matheson rounding out the top 10.
Yep, and Jaden Russell looks like they ended up finishing in P11. I'm not sure whether he got into contact on that last lap or whether that he ran out of fuel, because he was there. But unfortunate there for Jaden finishing P11. Andy Barber with a similar story, I believe, finishing in P12. Christopher Finlay, who came into this series 10 points behind your current championship leader, Justin Witcher, has had a reasonable night, finishing in P13, but he'll lose a couple of points to Justin with his P4 finish. Shannon Wright in P14. Craig Roffey in 15. Dwayne Priest 16. 17 is Scott McClintock. And Max Riley will finish in P18, Paul.
As we turn the page, and we have Barry Neal finishing in P19 and Michael Shaw rounding out the top 20. Philip Howe in 21, Terry Marwood, Darren McKenzie, Aaron Dillon, Jamie Nankervis, Steve Hobbit, Ben Stewart, and Brett Campbell for 28th spot, with Greg Spencer and Gerard Daly our top 30.
And what a race that was, Paul. And ladies and gentlemen, that does round out your top 30 for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here at Texas Motor Speedway. As we've said, Paul, what a great race. And let's go celebrate it with the top 3 place getters of round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Guys, I know you're all in the booth and you can hear me, but we'll start off with P3, Sam Katakouzanos, mate. Sensational race. You definitely kept us on our toes there at the end.
Hello. Oh, hi. Yeah, how you going? So I didn't realise this was not push to talk, so I got a bit confused there. What a race. How you going, guys? That was really enjoyable. A few bumps, a few runs, but I really thought I was going to be one lap too short on fuel, but we all made it to the end, surprisingly.
Yeah, I was saying in the broadcast, unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of feedback. Like, we didn't jump on with drivers this time. It looked like the whole race was a little bit crazy, so we didn't want to interrupt anyone. But we saw that Christopher Finlay, I believe, couldn't get to the end there and pit with about 20 odd to go. And we didn't know whether you guys at the front were quite going to make it. But I did reference to Paul with about 10 to go with the way that you guys were racing, that there was no real issue on fuel. So I'd be safe to say that you guys running for that podium position were pretty safe on fuel at the end.
Wasn't my case. I came out, I forgot what lap. We came in and I decided to get, okay, I think this is going to be the last yellow. We'll get tyres here and top up with fuel and let my fuel systems go. And then when we started going, yeah, I'm going to fire my crew chief. He didn't put in enough fuel, obviously, but he could have, but I was fuel saving towards the end there. I was allowing people to get in front of me, so I could just take the more optimum line and less throttle and just use people's draft, and hopefully cross fingers and toes I could get to the end. And I think I'm not the only one. I'm hoping I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I believe Jaden Russell might have run out of fuel and had to pit as well, which dropped him back to P11 and a lap down.
Oh, right. Okay, I was too busy noticing that. Sorry. He was up there, wasn't he? 10 laps to go or something? Yeah, fighting it.
Yeah, he most definitely was there, mate. I think he, as Paul just referenced to, I think he struggled with that fuel. He did do a lot of front running in that last stint, so that possibly could have been the catalyst to that one. But anyway, once again, this is not the first time we've had a conversation with you after having a nice solid podium place getting. I think even last time this was the case where you had a fuel saving issue, you came out on top. So that's something definitely you're really good at, to be able to get to the end there to get these solid results where some people may not be able to do that. So whatever your trick is, mate, just send me a PM after the message, after the broadcast, and let me know what it is. So yeah, but great job there, mate, on a P3. It was almost 3 wide across the line. Unfortunately, Raymond just pipped you for P2. He loved that outside line at the on that last stint. He was really trying to work it. He tried the inside line a couple of times, but that outside line was his favourite, and he just got that run off 3 and 4. But great job there for P3, mate.
I was happy to bring it home, cross the line, and have one car, no damage. P3 is icing on the cake there.
Well, you definitely did that, mate. Before we let you go and we move on to Raymond and Ruben, any shout outs or thank yous of sponsors or anyone involved in your iRacing that you'd like to thank tonight?
For sure, your broadcast, Intersim, for putting up our show. I'd like to thank the series, Australasian eSeries V8 Supercars. I know I said that wrong, for putting the racing together. The drivers for showing up and making this event possible. And yeah, thanks to my team Bushfink Racing, for having me. That's about it. Thank you.
No worries, Sam. Well, I'll get you to just hang around. If you do have 5 or 10 minutes, we will come back to you really quickly before we wrap up the broadcast, just to see your thoughts on next week's race at Daytona. But, mate, if you could stay on, that'd be great. But we'll quickly move across to the second place getter, Pinnacle Esports ZB Commodore driver of Raymond Yeager. Raymond, P2, mate. What a race. That was great.
Oh, mate, that was yeah, that was intense. Crazy, crazy finish. A lot of fun.
Mate, I saw there in that last stint, we knew you guys would be there. We can see that you were trying to work together and at some point, as much as you can, obviously, with the way these cars drive around Texas. But that outside line, you really, really wanted to keep that car on that outside line. I saw you did make a move on the inside and tried a couple of times, but you're really persistent on that outside line. It looked like you felt like you had something off the corner, and if you could just rotate through the middle, that was going to start to work. Did you find that it got better as the race went on, or it was just where you felt more comfortable driving?
So yeah, I guess the outside I found out early on that I felt like coming out of 3 and 4 that you could get a really good run if you got the corner right. So I kind of wanted to be up there at the end. Luckily, I was able to get there. Couldn't quite get past Ruben. He did a great job. I think the tow from the lap car in front probably helped him a little bit as well. But yeah, I did consciously want to be on the outside. I did drop to the inside for a fair bit of that last run. That was mainly just to make sure I could make it on fuel because it was really, really tight. So yeah, that was the main reason for that. I sort of sat behind Ruben for most of that run as well to try and save fuel. So yeah, overall it worked out pretty well though.
And you mentioned fuel there, and you would have heard us having a chat to Sam before. He had a very similar issue with the fuel. So I might have misread that one a little bit from the commentary booth. So it didn't look like you were saving, but obviously you guys were. But mate, Justin Witcher came into round 6 tonight with a 10-point lead on the rest of the field. He's obviously stretched that one out with a nice solid 4th position tonight over his nearest competitor in Christopher Finlay. But mate, you were running together there with probably the last 15 to go, and then got separated a little bit. Were there team orders in the Pinnacle Esports camp, or was it every man for himself?
Nah, no team orders, mate. We just race each other, and whoever comes out on top comes out on top. So I think, I mean, we thought we were talking obviously on the radio, and we thought that there was no chance that Ruben and that could make it on fuel because they stopped like a lap or two before me and Justin, and we were like tight. So I thought, yeah, no, I don't know what they did to save fuel, but they did a great job to get there from where they were.
Or whatever strategies everyone had, and there were so many different strategies out there on track tonight, Raymond. It definitely made for some great racing. Obviously, a lot of cautions early, which was very unfortunate and very unusual for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. But Texas, these cars do create very close racing, so it's not something that was unexpected. But I tell you what, definitely made up for it in the second half of the race. But well, we have Raymond on the line here. Paul, anything you want to add to Raymond?
Well, I've got to say I didn't put the commentator's curse on you because you were pick number 2 for me. I must have cursed Barry there in the early stages. Not sure what happened with Barry, but I see you did a real good job of pushing Justin to get back up to that lead pack there. So obviously you guys must have had some team orders to work together to get back up to that pack.
Oh yeah, I mean, while we were coming through the field, obviously we weren't racing each other. We were just trying to, safely get back towards the front because we knew we had the pace to sort of run in the top 5 or 10. But yeah, so we worked together a bit, I guess. But once it sort of gets to the last 5-10 laps, it sort of gloves off and let's try and win this thing. So obviously came up a little bit short, but given how the start of my series has gone, I'll take second.
I'd take second too, mate. Always good to be on the podium, and especially with a nice clean car, mate. So you've got to be happy with that result. But we'll also get you to stick around if you've got 5 minutes, Raymond, just after we finish these driver interviews, and we'll have a chat to the 3 of you before we wrap up the broadcast. But, mate, well done on your P2. Some nice championship points there. Any sponsors and followers, etc., that you would like to have a plug on the Intersim Esports Network?
Yeah, look, obviously, just want to shout out to Ray White, Rural Gander, for all their help with getting the series running and things like that. So without them, things would be a lot more difficult. So yeah, thanks for them. AP Esports for providing the trophy for the eventual winner of the series. Greatly appreciated. And I'm sure the winner will be pretty keen to get a trophy. And then, of course, Witcher Electrics as well. Justin does help us out a fair bit, so appreciate that. And he's obviously a good driver. But yeah, so that's the main ones. You guys into sim esports broadcast? Man, I got confused. I don't know. There's too many sponsors for me. But you guys do a great job each week. I watch the race back every single week, and it just gets better every week. To be honest, you boys do a great job, and like I do every time I'm in here, can't do this without the drivers. Without the drivers, there's nothing for me to put on. So, just want to big shout out. Another 30 drivers here tonight. So, I mean, things are looking good. Obviously, the start of the race was a little bit sketchy with the 4 or 5 cautions, but yeah, that second half of the race really made up for it.
No worries, mate. Very good plug there, and from us at Intersim Esports Network. Just note that down.
That's
the one. We really appreciate the kind words, mate. But congratulations on your P2. Like I said, if you can just stick around for a couple of minutes, it'd be great to have a little chat to you in a second. But we'll quickly move on to the man of the moment, P1 for round 6 of the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries from Texas Motor Speedway. Aussie Racing ZB Commodore pilot out of Dunedin, New Zealand, Ruben Phelps.
How's it going, Aiden? I got one for us.
Mate, you got the first one for us. The smile on my face is quite large at the moment. So, mate, you made that Aussie esports car very wide in those closing 3 laps.
Yeah, there was a lot of free wide passes I was making that whole race. But I came into this race with no practice. I've never done a single lap at this track with this car, and came for 15th when I went to qualifying. I thought, yep, okay. And then the race came along, and I just took my time and passed everybody.
Yeah, you're lucky early being at the front, get rid of some of those cautions. You kept it pretty clean. It looked like you weren't happy at sort of sitting around that 4th, 5th position through majority of the race. You were very, very aggressive at moving that car up further to the pointy end of the field. There was a incident there where I believe you and Jackson Callow got into each other accidentally and nearly caused a big one. So great recovery by both of you there to not cause a big wreck. Otherwise, your night could have been totally different.
I'm not exactly 100% sure what happened there, if I got loose or it just sort of bounced off him or a net coat or something, but we got together anyway off turn 4 and I think ended up in the grass. It gave me a 1X, but the battles for the first place was hectic tonight. But everybody said that the outside lane was the place to go. I didn't find that at all. I like to stay on that bottom. It didn't help when it come to the draft off the corner, but when it comes to rotation, I had it really sussed on that bottom pretty much the whole race. So I sort of just stuck to my guns and just sort of continued doing it. Thankfully, it just sort of worked out. And then as soon as I had a run, I just took off and went for it. Thought, well, I'm not going for the championship. I'm not going for anything on that sense. So I thought, I'm just going to send it tonight. So that's pretty much how I got there, and I got the track position when I needed it and stayed there.
Yeah, funny you say that. There was definitely 2 lanes. I think it was some were stronger high, some were stronger low, and as we know, it is a fixed setup, so probably driver preference and driver style is why we saw those 2 lanes. You might sacrifice some on exit, but on entry and mid on low, it looked like it was quicker, where it was the opposite for that high line. So either way, mate, great job, Paul, fellow New Zealander. Mate, anything you want to touch on with Ruben after his P1 here tonight?
One of the things I said in the early start of the race when Barry was leading, that looks like the turn 1 and 2 there, the preferred line was low, and 3 and 4 sort of mid to high. Like that, the run you could get into 1, you'd pull away marginally, and if you tried to keep low in 3, they'd just drive around the outside of you again. So I think what you mentioned there about the preferred line of low was pretty spot on there. But what do you think about 3 and 4 running low there as well?
Like if you've got someone ahead of you on the bottom line, you actually do get a nice run, but you have to have someone in front of you to pull you to get the or just to get you to go fast in that inside line. But like the rotation probably is about the center of the center corner to bottom off, and then just get as much straight line the exit off turn 4 as you can. just so you don't use too much steering wheels. So because they'll give you all the straight line speed coming to the tri-oval there. But I just found that if you just slow down a little bit on the entry, even when you're on the bottom, you still get nice rotation. Because if as soon as you miss the mark at turn 1 and 2, you either get pushed tight in the center and you end up heading towards the wall. So I sort of wanted to make sure I rotated it really well, and it actually really worked good at the start of the race there, because I was at the bottom. If you catch a little bit of draft, I just pulled you right round and you ended up passing 3 or 4 cars in the corner. So, but other than that, nah, the didn't really find too much on the top. Only time it really worked is if you got a whole group of guys with you that's gonna help you out. That's the only way it worked. But on the turn of 1 and 2, is definitely you sort of got to rotate it down to the bottom.
And how were you on fuel at the end of that race? Were you getting a bit nervous there as well, or?
Yeah, I think before that last run there, I had to save, I think, 2.6, 2.6 gallons, I think, of how it was set up on my screen. And I think when I passed the line, I still had plenty of gas, and it ran out in turn 1 as I crossed it. So that's pretty close, but I just stayed behind. Even though I was racing, I stayed behind whoever was leading there to just save a little bit of gas. Of course, when Raymond and Justin got there, I had to race hard because I knew they probably had saved their gas and sort of run it hard near the end of the race. So as soon as they got to my bumper, I sort of had to put the foot down a wee bit and just sort of place my car so they couldn't get past. But I know they were saving gas still anyway. But thankfully, I held them off.
Well, mate, from me as your teammate, I'm absolutely chuffed. That's the first win for Aussie Esports. We've had some good results lately, and you take the first inaugural win for the newly started teammates. So from me personally, well done, but also from everyone at the Australasian SUPERCAR eSeries and us at the InterSim Esports Network and everyone involved. Congratulations on your P1, mate, here for round 6.
First time with the paint scheme on the car tonight too, on the the V8. So it's an all-round brand new car, and it's quick.
Definitely is, mate. So we'll let you get on to your sponsors. I know it's about to go, or it has gone midnight over there in New Zealand. So we'll let you get on to your sponsors. Anyone you want to thank before we chat to the 3 years and start winding up the broadcast?
Got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's nice to hear a familiar voice doing the talking and shouting out everybody there. And of course, the guys, not sure, actually, I forgot what Raymond said of who runs the series, but thanks to everybody who runs the series to continue this, make it happen. And of course, all the drivers to keeping us clean. There was a great battle for the lead most of that race today. It was a really, really, really good race.
And well, we got you, and we might quickly just cover off this. Hope you don't mind, Paul. We head to Daytona International Speedway for round 7 next week for 80 laps. Same time, same place here on the InterSim Esports Network next Sunday night, mate. I know you like super speedways, but supercars, super speedways, so that's something you're looking forward to at Daytona? Looks like Ruben's mic might be playing up.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm not actually 100% sure because I think the only track I've done I think it was the old style super. Oh no, hold on, it was this new supercars is Talladega. So yeah, the drafting is definitely a huge thing when it comes to these cars. So it's going to be an interesting race. Hopefully, I'm going to be there. I should be there, but the moment I'm not 100% sure how the race will go because I haven't had the super speedway experience in these cars too much. So just going to have to make do with what I got. But of course, again, I'm not running for the championship because I've missed a few rounds. So probably be sending it again as per usual. So it'd be good.
No worries. Look forward to seeing you, hopefully, for round 7, though, Ruben. But once again, congratulations on your P1. Raymond, well, we got you too, mate. P2 tonight. And as we touched on, Daytona International for 80 laps next Sunday night. Looking forward to that one, mate.
So not really, no. Not a huge fan of super speedways personally, in any car. but especially in this thing because it drafts so much, and yeah, I'll probably try and hang out down the back and try and survive.
Fair enough, mate. And Sam Katakouzanos, mate, I know you can hear us. Your mic's currently muted, but same question for you, mate. Daytona International, 80 laps next Sunday night. Number 1, will you be there? And number 2, is that what a track you're looking forward to?
I'll be there, and I hope it's a quick 80 laps because, yeah, super speedways, they're great to watch, not fun to die in, and I tend to die in them a lot. So, not holding my breath to doing anything particularly well, but I'll show up. I'll throw my hat in the ring. But my past experience is Daytona and Talladega. I usually pack up shop before the race finishes. That's normally my deal.
Well said, but ladies and gentlemen, you hear it first. The top 3 place getters are round 6 are definitely not looking forward to round 7. So we may see a change up in the results. But Paul, real quickly, we'll just move on to the unofficial championship results if we do have those available to us at the moment before we wind down this broadcast for a Sunday night. There they are in front of you, ladies and gentlemen. So the unofficial championship points, as we now conclude the midway part of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, is Justin Witcher up the top there for Pinnacle Esports on 204 points, slowly extending that lead over Christopher Finlay in P2 on 185. Gary Wellman is rounding out the top 3 there on 173 points. Troy Davidson 168, with Darren McKenzie rounding out your top 5 on 167. Raymond Yeager, who's just got P2 tonight, has moved his way up the leaderboard into 6th position on 164 points, closely followed by Cade Donnelly. Peter Matson from Ray Wright Rural Gander in 8th for 143 points. Shannon Wright there in 9th on 142. Greg Spencer rounds out your top 10 on 136, Paul. So we'll let that scroll through. You can see Sammy K there. Ruben Phelps has moved up there to 21st on 88 points after only a couple of showings in the series so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can go through and find your favourite driver and see where they're sitting on the championship points table as we see it after round 6. But in saying that, it is unofficial. There will be penalty points and bonus points to be added to that. But we'll bring all that updated information to you when we go live again for the Australasian Supercar eSeries next Sunday night from 7:15 to 7:30 p.m. Sorry, 7:45 p.m. My apologies. But there we go. We've had 51 drivers currently, forget my name there, 50 drivers currently compete in the Australasian Supercar eSeries. But Paul, we're about to wrap up the broadcast. Do you have a favourite moment of tonight, something that stands out in your mind that you think was a really good point of the race?
Oh, I think just some of the trading positions back and forth for those top spots there. Ruben and Jaden Russell doing a great job back and forth there. Even Jackson Callow getting in the mix of things there. About yourself?
Yeah, very good. The overall race, pretty much similar to what you said, Paul. Like we said, it did start off very slowly, a little bit stop-start with those 6 or 7 cautions before we got to the halfway point of the motor race, but it definitely did spice up. I know Ruben did take the win tonight, and he is my teammate, but I must say that decisive move he made up in through 1 and 2 at one point through that race really showed his mindset and where he wanted to be in that race. I was really impressed too with Terry Marwood through this race too, Paul. Unfortunately, he had what's happened to Michael Shaw rather in the last couple of rounds. Had a strong car for the most part and then just got caught up in an accident. So unfortunate for Terry. But either way, what a great showing these guys put on here for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries here from the Texas Motor Speedway. For everyone tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network, we are live again next Friday night from 7:45 p.m. for the next round of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series. So join us here from 7:45 p.m. next Friday night. A big shout out again to our sponsors, or to the Australasian Supercar eSeries sponsors, and they are Ray White Rural, Gander, Witcher Electrics, and AP Esports. On behalf of the Australasian Supercar eSeries and everyone involved in the series and all of us at the Indosim Esports Network, that brings us to an end for round 6 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries right here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you on Friday night. Good night.